Hi everyone. Hey, if you've got a hungry, active family like I do, and you like the idea of just cooking once but getting multiple meals out of that one cook, then these next recipes might be a big help for you, like they have been for me this week. I cooked a veggie enchilada dish and also a mince chili mix, and then a bake in my crock pot, which was a chicken teriyaki rice dish. So that was 3 meals that I cooked, but they were at least double the serving sizes. So for my family of 4, it meant that we were actually able to eat through the whole week, but using those dishes in slightly different ways so that it didn't feel too samey. So if you've got a really active, busy family, or that particular week is going to be a really busy, hectic one, then cooking minimally but having those meals spread over the week just in a slightly different way is a great way to make the week less stressful for you. And also, how are you going with your decluttering? Since I started these videos, I've been decluttering, a certain number of items from my kitchen at the moment. And yeah, just have been encouraging you to do the same. So we're kind of doing it together. So these are my items that I am decluttering today. The key thing is just to make sure that you're getting those items, once you've filled a box, get those items into your car. And then at any opportunity, it may be the same opportunity each week, for example, you go past a secondhand store, say on a Tuesday or something like that, then just have those boxes in your car ready to go, and then you can just decant them to the secondhand store at that first opportunity that week. So we really just want to be getting it out of our house as quickly as we can. Let's get into these recipes and hopefully they'll be helpful for you. This first meal is a firm favourite with my family. It's the Jamie Oliver recipe for vegetarian enchiladas, but I make a few tweaks to make the recipe work even simpler. And I've doubled all of the ingredients so that we get at least 2 days of meals from it. To begin with, I've got a very hot pan going with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Into this goes diced red pepper and frozen corn. The original recipe calls for peppers to be blackened on a gas stove and whole corn pieces to be blackened and then cut off the cob. But I take a little shortcut by using frozen corn and diced pepper, and the flavour is still super yummy. So the aim is to get the pepper and corn charred or blackened on the outside. This gives a smoky barbecue type flavour to the finished dish. In goes 1 heaped teaspoon each of garlic, cumin, paprika, mixed herbs, and then I've got my bags of 2 pre-diced onions that are super helpful to pull out of my freezer for any quick food prep like this. Give it a good mix and let the onion cook down for a couple of minutes. Now at this point you really could add in any other veggies if you liked. The recipe doesn't call for them, but it all adds more nutrition and bulk to the meal. I'm adding mushrooms as I just had them in the fridge and they've got a little bit of a sort of meaty texture to them anyway. 2 tins of black beans are rinsed and added to the veggies. You could use kidney beans or another bean of your choice. The little lentils you get in a tin would also work well. Let this mixture cook on a medium heat for a good 5 minutes or so and season well. Then we get on to the constructing of the enchiladas. I'm using small white tortillas here, but any tortilla would work. This is probably about a cup of mixture going into the tortilla, and then fold the tortilla in half and roll it towards you, tucking it under. Fill as many of these as your mixture will allow. Now onto the enchilada topping. I make my own sauce by mixing 2 tins of diced tomatoes, a tablespoon of tomato paste, and a sprinkle of mixed herbs. Mix this all together, and then we just spread this all over the enchiladas for a nice saucy topping. Lots of grated cheese goes on top, and into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius. You're going to cook it until it's nice and dark golden on the top and the cheese has all melted. This next recipe is a wonderful slow cooker chilli. I am putting in 1 kg or 2.2 pounds equivalent of beef mince that is beginning to thaw out, 2 bags of my frozen already diced onion, 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and half a teaspoon of chili flakes. This recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of chili powder, but I'm adding in another chili component soon, so I lessened this amount of chili. In go 2 tins of diced tomatoes and 1 tin of mild chili beans. These are not in the recipe I have linked below, but they replaced a tin of kidney beans that are in the recipe. 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, a good squirt of tomato sauce, tomato ketchup. I think this would have been about 3 tablespoons going in here. The recipe actually called for the whole bottle of tomato sauce, which I thought was a little extreme. I added in a couple of heaped tablespoons of tomato paste. Season well and give it a good mix around. I prepped this on an evening and then put it into the fridge overnight, which meant the beef mince continued to thaw out. Then the next morning I added in a tin of rinsed black beans, gave it a good mix, and it went on to low heat for the remainder of the day while I was at work. Here it is bubbling away after 8 hours on low. And the meals that we ate over the week from that particular dish were chili and rice with cheese on top, nachos, and baked potatoes with chili. This is all comfort type food that my family loves. This next meal is a slow cooker teriyaki chicken and rice. The servings is for 8 people. So for my family of 4, this is obviously going to be able to provide us over 2 meals. So what I've got in here is about 800 grams of minced chicken. And then into that I'm just going to pop a red and a yellow diced pepper, and then I've got an onion here. This was from my freezer, my already diced and frozen onion, which is super helpful just to be able to pull out of the freezer. So that just goes in. And then I've got 2 cups of rice. This is brown rice. You could use white rice, whatever you like. This is a brown basmati rice, uncooked. Now the water ratio for this is normally double the amount of water for how much rice you've put in. So this is 2 cups of rice. So normally I would put in 4 cups of water, but there is going to be another watery, saucy component going into here as well. So I'm not going to put in quite as much water. I'm going to put in about 3 and a bit cups of water into here. And then I've got going in a teriyaki sauce. Now you can use a store-bought sauce is fine, or you can make your own. This particular recipe here is one that I've made up. It really is stuff that I just had in my cupboard. I'll link the recipe below. So what I've got in here is half a cup of soy sauce. You can use tamari sauce as well, it's not quite as salty. I've got a quarter of a cup of brown sugar. The recipe calls for 1.5 teaspoons of fresh ginger, but I didn't have fresh ginger, so I've just used ground ginger, and I've used about 3/4 of a teaspoon of that. 1 teaspoon of garlic, minced garlic. 1 tablespoon of honey. 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. And then 3 tablespoons of mirin. This is a sweet rice wine, and this is what it looks like when it's all made up. If you're using this as a marinade, which you can do for other meats, then you can just add some cornstarch to it, which will thicken it up a bit, but I'm not going to use that for this purpose. So that's just going into my mix as well. I'll pop the lid on, and I'm just going to pop it onto a low heat for about 4 hours, or until the rice is cooked. Now, I know this looks very beige, and it is, but that's because I used brown rice in this dish. We enjoyed this mixture over the week with rice cups, and we also had wraps. We had wraps for dinner one night, and then I also took some to work for lunch as well, so they were super simple and easy. You can just garnish them with whatever your family likes. I also made the rice and chicken mixture into some like meatballs and just shallow fried them, so they were quite yummy as well, just with a bit of salad and some salsa. Super simple, and the teenagers liked those as well. This is all kind of just easy, simple comfort food that is really great to have handy for a busy week. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it helpful in some way. I'd love you to subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.